Now, the thing that I've been looking forward to is Cocaine Bear, because right at the very beginning you said it is what it...
Yes.
And bears and cocaine don't really go together.
No, okay.
So this is the one I'm interested in.
Okay, so Cocaine Bear, which is the new film by Elizabeth Banks, who directed Pitch Perfect 2 and the Charlie's Angels reboot, the actor Elizabeth Banks. It is billed as based on a true story, okay? The true story of Cocaine Bear. So the true story of Cocaine Bear is this. December 1985, a huge bear was found dead in the Chattahoochee National Forest after having ingested a duffel bag full of drugs that had been dropped out of a Cessna light airplane by a drug smuggler, by a policeman turned drug smuggler. The drug smuggler subsequently bailed out and was then found dead on a driveway in Knoxville, wearing a Kevlar bulletproof vest, Gucci loafers, and weighed down by a huge amount of drugs, which he himself had jumped out of. His parachute hadn't opened, and apparently something had happened. As for the bear, and this is the true story, it was stuffed, placed on display in a local visitor center, before being purchased from I'm not making this up, from a Nashville pawn shop by Waylon Jennings.
Really?
Who then gave it to a friend of his in Las Vegas, and then it finally ended up in a Kentucky fun mall in Lexington.
Okay.
That's the true story.
Right,
okay?
I don't think that's a film.
Jimmy Warden then wrote a spec script, which was what would happen if the bear, about which the only thing that we actually know is it was found dead next to a duffel bag full of cocaine, if the bear, whilst on the cocaine, had interacted with human beings. And this is a complete invention. So the true story is this thing over here. The thing that happens in the film is completely different. So that script then went, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, Lego Movie and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, produced it. They were originally, I think, touting it to be directed by the people that went on to do that were doing the Scream movies. And then Elizabeth Banks comes into the frame. So the story now is that a group of people end up being in the forest while a bear, which is off its face on cocaine, wreaks havoc. So everything is in the title and indeed in the trailer, because the day that the trailer dropped, it was like everyone was going, is this real? It's like, can this possibly be a real thing? Can this possibly be an Elizabeth Banks movie? So the kind of people that are around you have O'Shea Jackson Jr. and Alden Ehrenreich, who are looking for the bag of drugs. They have been sent by Ray Liotta. The film is incidentally dedicated to Ray Liotta, one of his last performances. You have Isaiah Whitlock Jr. as a lawman who is also got dog problems. You have Margot Martindale, who is a love-struck ranger. And most importantly, you have Kerry Russell as single mum on the hunt for her daughter Dee Dee, who has gone off playing truant with her friend Henry. They have skipped school and encountered both the cocaine and the bear. So essentially, the big question is, can the film possibly be as good as the trailer, or is it basically going to be Snakes on a Plane, in which it's all title and nothing else? And the answer is, well, somewhere in between. It isn't as good as the trailer. I mean, the trailer is insane, and it all plays out to White Lines Don't Do It. And it's got like the trailer is, you think, I want to see this film now. The reality of it is that actually it's got this weird sort of sub-Spielbergian family thing about, in the end, it's all about family, like everything is. There's actually one shot in which there's Ursine family and human family sort of counterposed, because it's got, so Elizabeth Banks says that she looked to inspiration in things like Sam Raimi, because it's got all the sort of slapstick gore. And there's dismembered limbs and severed heads and faces and intestines and all that stuff. It's got that kind of Fargo, Coen brothers, and of course Coens and Raimi, come from the same sump. Oddball characters in strange situation that also kind of involves violent deaths. It also fits into a stream of Predator movies. So at the very beginning, the very first eating is absolutely referring to Jaws, to the Chrissy death from the beginning of Jaws. And there's one moment when the bear arrives and the score goes, so it's knockabout fun. It's not as mad as I wanted it to be. I mean, I wanted it to be a full-on Roger Corman, just absolute insane fest. And there are things in it that it's got a CG bear, and the CG is a little bit shonky. But it's kind of okay. It's much, much better than Snakes on a Plane. It has a couple of laugh-out-loud moments in it. It's 95 minutes long, which is absolutely the ideal running time. So it's not as good as the trailer. It's much better than Snakes on a Plane. Friday night, you know, let's just go and see something completely silly, you might end up thinking there's more heartwarming stuff than I perhaps expected. But considering how badly it could have gone wrong, it was much better than I expected, although it's not as good as the trailer.
Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as we enjoyed making it. While you're here, check out all the other videos because they're cool too, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you want to keep up to date with everything Kermode and Mayo's take, then check out our social channels.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I would.
There you
I
go.
have done.
Excellent.